not rigid. When truth becomes rigid, it
Your
becomes a
heart
weapon.
stops.
Yeah. Your heart, oh, lovely way of putting it. I like that. When truth becomes rigid, the heart stops. Ah, lovely. It becomes rigid. It becomes weaponized.
You have taught me well, Master.
No, to me, you just taught me. Thank you. You taught me that when the truth becomes, what did you just say? Rigid, it becomes like, say it again.
The heart stops.
Ah, the heart stops. That was it. That was a brilliant piece. You see, when truth is held lightly, then it becomes like water. Then the heart opens. But to hold it rigidly is to say, my way is the way, my truth is the truth, my understanding is the reality, and everything you're saying is false, right? That's when you use it as a weapon.
And this is the pandemic we have in the world now. It's out of control.
Again, it's about how you navigate that world. Can you walk through that with respect for each person's views and their fears and their doubts? And can you still walk it with compassion and kindness and love? Can you walk it with your heart open? What is happening around us is that people are becoming rigid or at least were becoming very rigid in their views.
I know. I'm so tired of it.
And therefore fighting with each other, right?
It sucks.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get more of those people on this call.
All right. We need them here. We need them here to start listening about, you can have your truth and you can have your understanding. Don't hold it like a weapon and start attacking others with it. But rather hold it like water.
Okay, we'll do more marketing. We'll get more people on the call.
Great. I'll tell you this, it really doesn't matter. If somebody wants to know, they'll be here. And if they'll find their way here. Yeah, but by all means, do the marketing, whatever it is, or not. It doesn't, one way doesn't matter. I mean, this is about serving the community hub as best as we can. And that's what we, doing what we can do to make a difference here. In a world of chaos, to try and bring light. That's the attempt. So join me in doing that, because it's like this. Candles are like this. Candles, when you light one candle with another candle, they're both lit. And it doesn't matter where the light first came from, because the light, who knows where it first came from, right? The light, the flame is an ethereal thing. But as one candle lights another candle, lights another candle, lights another candle, we spread the light all around. Each one of us becomes the bearer of that light. Each one of us becomes a candle. And the candle, the flame itself, has no label on it. It's not like Gucci or Prada, or, it doesn't come with a branding. If you're carrying the flame, you are the light in that moment. So take the flame that is offered here, which I've brought from so many others, and pass it on. And hold it lightly.
Are you lit?
Well, I don't know.
Are you on fire?
There's an expression these days about being lit. I don't know what it means though, but
seems like you have put DJ on fire right now.
I know DJ is really on fire.
I'm on fire. Yippee!
Yeah, Brooke, how are you? Anything you want to add? I don't want to take the conversation away from others here.
The key thing is not to get burned, though.
Right.
What was the question?
I don't know. Is there anything you'd like to add? Because I don't want the conversation to just go on between a few people here. I like everyone in.
This is equal opportunity party.
Yeah.
Or you don't have to, but just.
I don't really have anything.
Okay, fair enough.
Say, yeah.
It doesn't have to. Okay. Are there any issues around relationship that we'd like to talk about?
Yeah. I'm like feeling a sense of jealousy around happy couples right now.
Okay. And you're single at this time.
Yeah, and it's just more like why couldn't that be me?
Mm,
Like, not
absolutely.
like I want someone new. It's like, why couldn't that have been my ex and I? And
Right.
I know I'm jealous and I know I shouldn't be sitting in jealousy, but like the pain, it's
Mhm.
an irritating pain for me. So,
What does the pain tell you?
um, I kind of just shut down a little bit
Mm,
because like I'm not trying to tap into like old habits, old toxic habits where, I'm just like quick to jump. I'm trying to really sit through it and take it day by day. But
mhm.
like, some days are better than other days. But I think it's just really hard right now because like people are graduating right now and some of them have been like high school sweethearts and stuff. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, what the hell? you know? And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just doing my best to not be envious of that.
Let me
Um,
ask you one thing. In that moment, when you're feeling that enviousness, if you were to ask yourself, what is it I really need at this time? What is it I wish I had right now?
I think at this point, what I wish I had or what I wish to do for myself, and this will have to come like another day because it's just too, today was already like, I'm emotionally spent a little bit.
What is
But
the longing? What is the core longing that you have?
I want to write down um just how my like logical perception of what happened and write it down
Okay.
because at this
That's the
point
past.
I'm just,
That's the past.
yeah,
Come
well,
to the
I
present.
can't make sense of it and I'm
Okay.
trying to let it go and I just need to write down in the moment what made sense to me, just be like it's
Okay.
over. And
So I'll
that's
tell you this,
why,
I find a lot of people struggling with heartache and loss and breakups. And one of the things they do is they keep on trying to understand what happened.
yeah.
And I'm going
And
to tell you three letters. Well, I guess I don't know what the short form would be, insufficient data,
yeah, well,
right?
that's why I agree.
Actually don't know what happened. You don't quite know what the other person's thinking was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you really have to bring it down. Tell yourself, I don't know. There is not enough data to tell me what actually happened and why it happened. And even if they do come up and tell you something, they may or may not tell you all of what really went on inside them.
Yeah.
And even if they tell you what happened, you may not agree with it. You may have a whole different perspective on it. You may see it entirely differently. The
Yeah.
bottom line is, and I'll tell you, this is where the big problem occurs. We have different parts of our brain. One part that is dealing with the logical aspect of things, and another part that's dealing with the emotional aspect of things. When you're in an emotional state, let's say jealousy or feeling loss or feeling, whatever, when you're in a feeling state, you bring the logical mind in. Why? What happened? How could it have happened? What does it mean? You start jamming on the emotions and you start creating chaos and confusion in your mind. My suggestion to you would be, please don't do that. Do not try to, at least when you are in the emotional state, do not try to go into why and what happened and try to understand things. At that time, simply hold yourself lovingly and ask yourself, what is it you need right now? I need to be loved. I need someone to hold me. Okay, I'm here for you. I will hold you. I will love you. I need someone to tell me that I am lovable. I will hold you and I will say to you that you are lovable. Take on that role of the lover and the beloved. Become both at the same time. And talk to yourself very lovingly, soothing that part of you that is feeling the sadness, the loss, the jealousy, all of that. And you'll find that as you do that, it will start to gradually relax and soothe down. Whereas if you start trying to understand the whys and whats, you will just keep agitating that part of you and it will get inflamed. It'll go from bad to worse. This is just my experience. So try that.
I agree with you. The more I try to make sense of it all, the more agitated and the more complex and the more traumatic the experience could be. Knowing, having experienced that before, that's why I just say, write it down. You don't need to make sense of it while you write it.
Okay.
Just
All
write
right.
it how it is
Okay.
and
That's
close
good.
the book.
All right.
And
That's good.
that's my
That's good.
approach. But I do agree that, like, you know, there's insufficient data. I don't want the other side of the picture. I don't want it. Because I just want to move forward. And, you know, I understand it takes time and maybe I'm just kicking myself.
Yeah.
You know,
And yeah,
so.
the other thing is don't be kicking yourself, because that doesn't help at all. I should have done this. I shouldn't have done that. You know, kicking yourself. No, doesn't serve you. Excuse me.
It's an interesting thing because the mind does want to ask these questions, and there are insights to be gained from doing that. So it's almost like there's this sort grace in like how much to surrender and how much to really probe these mysteries through our minds, you know. It doesn't seem like that the balance of that is really doable. Like, you know, it's only the real balance is only you're only going to find it through grace, in my opinion.
Yeah. I'll share with you about that. George, you said something very profound there. See, the first part is when you're emotional, don't get logical. But when you're not emotional, by all means, go ahead. If you want to try to figure out what happened and you want to get logical about it, that's the time to do it if you want to do that. But what George is talking about is a whole different level. I reached that point when I was writing my book, Loving Soulfully, where there'd been this huge loss, someone I thought I was going to be with forever, and just broke up, and I was devastated. And none of my logic would work, no emotions. I mean, my emotions wouldn't go away. So I turned to that inner voice, that voice of the soul, the voice of God that I've often turned to from time to time and said, please help me. I don't know how to make sense out of this. And then in moments of quiet, little bit here, little bit there, nuggets of truth and wisdom started coming through. And I kept writing them down. And ultimately, they all evolved into a book. But what I learned was very, very phenomenal. I did not know those things before. I had no clue. I never looked at love that way. I never understood human relationships that way. But what I learned was this, that love is not about a particular person, that people will come and people will go. But love is an energy. Love is the divine loving you through the different lovers who come into your life. That energy, that source, that God will never leave you, will always be with you. That love will therefore always be with you.
Yeah. I think I just have a hard time sitting with the agony of it.
Yeah.
Like it's just long nights.
And you've nailed it.
Agony.
Sit with the agony. But you know, when you sit with the agony, just don't try to analyze it. Sit with it. Sit with it and see what your body needs. Do you need to rock yourself? How do you need to soothe yourself? Don't go to food. That's not the kind of soothing you want. But look at loving words, loving touch, loving just reassurance. You know, how can you spend time with yourself? So think of the 5 love languages, right? Have you heard of those? Right? And then start doing those for yourself. Direct them to yourself. And you'll find that as you do that, you will feel more settled. So sit with it. You said the magic words, sit with it. But the quality of sitting needs to be directing love towards yourself. This is your time to love you and to build a foundation of love that makes it unshakable in you. That people may come or go, but love will never go. That is the experience you want to come to. That even if people leave you, you'll never be alone. Even if people go, you will never be. Yeah, you will miss them. Of course, you'll miss them. You'll miss that experience you were having with that human being, no doubt. And yet, you will have this deep conviction in you that love is always with you. So really strive towards this. It can be done. I have done it myself, and I've experienced in me a deep sense of being loved. Regardless, it is not conditional. It is not based on being worthy or unworthy, good or not good. No, it's nothing. This is an unconditional love that is offered to me, to you, to all of us. And it has no price. It is freely given. This is there. All you need to do is receive. Open your heart to receive it. This love is radiating through the entire universe, through all the energies of the universe, through the sun, through the moon, through the stars, through the earth, and through the waters. It is radiating. Gather it like you would like a thirsty person gathers water. Gather it like fairy dust, like the dust of the universe, and bring it into your heart till your heart is filled completely, until it's ready to overflow, and give that love out to everybody you come across. Because the more you give it, the more you will get. This is one of these rare possessions that the more it is given, the more it grows in you.
Yes, but I think that instead of sitting idly and thinking about your love, you can do some lovable activity that you apart from it.
All right. What do you suggest, Abhi?
Yes,
What kind of
like Brookie
activity would you
loves
like
to
to
do
suggest?
something. Brookie loves to do some guitar playing, and Brookie loves to sing. Brookie loves to read books. Because if you are sitting idly, you will be indulged in the thoughts, negative thoughts. He will suffer from that emotional trauma that he is suffering right now, sitting idly and thinking about him. So it's better to engage in some different activities, so so that he may she may involve better.
Nice. Thank you, Abhi, for that. And feel free to show us your camera. We'd love to see you as well.
Yes,
Good inputs, good
I'm happy to
ideas.
say.
Pardon?
I will show you.
All right. We'd like to see you as well. First time you're here. Welcome.
Basically, I'm from India,
Where in India are you?
and Rajasthan, India, Rajasthan, Jaipur.
Jaipur. Okay.
Yeah,
Welcome. I'm from Delhi.
yeah, by the look of it.
Hmm. So, Isha, you're here as well. We haven't heard from you in a while, but would love to have your inputs.
I don't have anything.
Okay, no worries. Whenever you feel ready. I just know that we love to hear from you whenever you do feel like sharing. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
Himanshu.
We're talking about love here, sir. I personally feel in order to find the inner love,
Hmm.
you have to have an experience of outside love also,
Hmm.
with the things like a painting, with the clothes or shoes or anything.
Hmm.
Because I personally have experienced that you external things are important because they allow you, they are the gateway for the inner love,
Hmm.
I hope I explained correctly.
But tell me
So,
how is that so?
because you see, how does inner love experience you, or experience inner love?
Hmm.
That's my question to you. How do you
How do you
experience that?
experience it?
Yeah,
Yeah. So this inner love that we're talking about is not a thing. It is not an
it's
event.
an
It is
energy.
not.
It's a energy.
That's right. And it is an energy that can only, it's a very subtle thing. It is not a gross thing. It cannot be touched. It cannot be. So you may say, well, but I want to be held. I want to be touched. I want to be, that's fine. But fill your cup first with this abundant energy. Because if you come from a place that you are empty and you are needing someone else to love you, you will find that they're not able to ever satisfy you. You're like a bottomless pit. No matter how much they give you, no matter how much you give them, you're not satisfied. Because in fact, no one can actually make you feel loved. They can make you feel loved for a few minutes, for an hour, 2 hours. But to deeply feel loved and have a feeling that you carry with you at all times, that quality of love requires something else.
Yeah, you have to leave this body, and it's beyond this body.
It is
But my
beyond this
question
body,
is,
but you don't have to leave this
but
body.
but I mean, you basically go in a different state. But my question is, how
Yes,
do
you're
you,
right.
like, how do you let it go? Because how do you do that to not allow the external experience to take place, because you have five senses?
No. No one is saying don't allow the external. No, absolutely allow the external to take place. It's
Correct.
not
It's
either
important.
or.
It's very important.
It's not either or. Try and understand. When you fill yourself directly from this energy which is all around you and within you, right? Then you come from a place where you are, it's like, your stomach is filled.
Hmm.
Now we can have a little dessert. Your partner, your lover, your friend, they are like the icing on the cake. You are the cake. That is the difference. Whereas if you want them to be the cake, then you will find that they don't have enough time, that they are busy, that somebody loves you in one way, somebody loves you in another way, but it's never quite the right way. And now you feel dissatisfied. I'm saying to
Beautiful.
you that the primary responsibility to love you is yours. And you say, well, then why would I need anybody
But
else?
but then how do you live in
How do you
just
live?
being by yourself, and um, not giving attention to your partner, because you're in yourself? Let's say, for example, I am in myself in cleaning the bathtub, for example. My
Okay,
partner needs attention. She's brushing her hair or doing the dishes. Okay, I'm just throwing random example.
all right.
So if I'm in myself at that time of love and feeling amazing with that energy, and my partner is yelling at me, how do you maintain that balance? How do you do that? How do you go and bring your partner to your level, and going to their level and bringing your partner to your level, vis-a-vis?
My friend, you learn to dance.
Correct.
You dance
Okay.
between this energy and you bring it to your partner and you receive your partner's love. Uh,
DJ on
David,
fire.
DJ is giving us some
Yeah,
wonderful words out here.
yeah,
Surrender,
he's on
listen,
he's on
receive,
fire.
smile, enjoy, and love.
That's
All
what I'm
right.
saying. He's on fire.
He's on fire, right? So I would say this, that dance between the inner energy and the outer energy. It's a back and forth flow.
Okay.
Don't get caught. Remember this, don't get caught up in either ors, right? It's both and more. So it's not just inner, it's not just outer, it's both and perhaps even more than you and I can even imagine. But what I'm trying to tell you is don't make your partner the source of your love, because then you will become like a child. You see, a child cannot take care of itself. A child needs mommy to feed it. A child needs mommy to clean it. A child needs it cannot take care of its needs. So when it comes to love, if you depend on your partner to fulfill your needs, to fulfill you, then you've put a huge task on them, which they'll never be able to succeed at. And B, you've set yourself up for the wrong kind of relationship. You become dependent on them. And the result of that is you become unable to take care of yourself. Now try it the other way around. As an adult knows how to take care of themselves. You be two adults together. Each of you is able to love yourself. Each of you is able to give to yourself and nurture and love. And then you stop from time to time and let the other person give to you. And in that way, you receive from them as well. And then you can step back into yourself and take care of yourself. And there is no hankering all the time. You come together, you're able to merge with each other beautifully, and you're able to individuate back again and come back to yourself and wholeness within yourself, both in this dance, back and forth, back and forth.
Would you say there's truth to the saying that you can't love somebody else unless you love yourself first?
I think so. I mean, you
Yeah.
can love somebody, but you will make a mess out of it.
Yeah.
I've done it plenty of times. I've done enough times to tell you that, and then there are people who do not love themselves, only love another, and they happen to stay together for the rest of their lives. But they're just becoming more and more few and far between.
What would you say is some of the keys to cultivating self-love? It seems like a very abstract sort of thing in a lot of ways,
Right. I have done a lot of work in that area. In fact, in our course that you're part of, George, I've a whole big section on that. But I'll give you some tips on it right now. What I find is this, that self-love is not what people talk about. Massages and shopping and buying clothes for yourself. And this is not self-love. This is pampering, and pampering is nothing wrong in it. Okay. It's lovely. It's lovely to pamper yourself. It's lovely to be pampered by someone. Great. But it cannot be the foundation of self-love. If all I did for a child was pamper the child by giving them toys, giving them candies, then I would raise a very unhealthy child and a spoiled brat also, right? And you'll see that practically a lot of folks who follow this idea of self-love, they're quite, in my opinion, they become quite narcissistic. They've become quite, just wrapped up about, it's become an egotistical thing, okay? And so I find that it doesn't work the way they're going about it. True self-love begins by loving you loving you. And how is that done? It's done through speaking to yourself, through touching yourself. So think of the 5 love languages, which they talk of with partners, but now do that for yourself, right? Speak to yourself with loving words, touch yourself lovingly, reassure yourself when you feel sad, be there for yourself, spending quality time when you feel down and out. Let yourself know, I'm here for you, I love you, I will never leave you, right? Because that love is consistent. That is what is called in psychology secure attachment. Cultivate that for yourself. Now, to take it one step further, it's about the self as love. The self is the soul, and it is the source of love. It is the embodiment of love. Use that, your presence, and presence is another word to talk about that. Bring that to your humanness. Accept yourself as you are, with all your flaws. Self-love begins there. Stop beating yourself up, judging yourself, calling yourself names. Stop. Stop all that. Instead, become very accepting of all your flaws and mistakes. That is really the rock bottom. On that, you can start to build a platform of self-love. There you can begin lovingly talking to yourself, lovingly touching yourself, doing things for yourself, nurturing yourself, feeding yourself in healthy ways, all of that. then that's still getting the basics in place. Now we move to romance with yourself. But I'm doing this all in the course, where we talk about this much deeper. How do you have that romance with yourself? How do you have that love affair with yourself? Yeah. All the different layers of it.
Yeah, that's a
So
good answer. Thanks.
thanks, Rohit.
Welcome.
That was great. I want to add something if everybody is okay with that. We have something called funny language or a street language in India. We use the words, and we use them either whether in the form of an expression, whether we are pleased with somebody, happy with someone, or we are happy or we are pissed off with somebody, and we call it gali, and there are certain words, they're funny, like, but in the Western world here, those words they call it a bad meaning,
Mm. But
So
they do have a
it's,
bad meaning, Himanshu.
huh?
Galis do have bad meaning, whatever way you want to put it.
No, but it's a way of a good expression also. It's a way of, in a way of, we use those words, gali, like when we are happy also, and
Okay,
when we are
but the
upset
point
with
is,
somebody,
yes, how you're using it matters, and
that
how the
matters.
person is receiving it matters,
Receiving is all. Yes.
right? And I don't see the connection with what we're talking about, though. But
No, I do have. We were talking about. I just wanted to add something in that about the love is like there's something called in the form of an expression in India,
okay,
and we express
okay.
those words. And I just thought I should share with my American friends, because they might have heard those words, with their coworkers or
All right.
someone,
Hi, Ken. Welcome. Mm,
I would like to ask you one question.
sure,
In
Abhi.
India, we are suffering from in India we are suffering from the lockdown crisis, the Corona crisis.
Right.
So everyone is feeling some emotional trauma inside, sitting inside their homes. So what should we do to overcome these
Abhi,
things
we've suffered the
while
same thing
sitting at
sitting
home?
in the US for many months. We had that same crisis going on here. India had actually managed their crisis really well last year, while here in the US we were really suffering from it. Now the things have reversed. The US is managing better. India has kind of like made a mess of their situation. What you can do is use this as a time to really find you, because that's the thing nobody has time for. Time to meditate, time to learn how to quiet your mind, time to learn how to find the most important thing that matters in life. I would say start with you, and then it's of course about relationships and people, the people who you are with, and be there with them, listen to them, care for them, love them. Right? So come to the grassroots, come to the things that really matter. That's what we did I remember in the US, a lot of my friends talking about that. They were using this as a chance to look at what they hadn't, what the things they'd been ignoring that were really important. I used it as a chance to get my YouTube channel off the ground. I used it as a chance to get many other things going that I had been sitting on and not really, explore things that you want to do. Like you were saying, your hobbies, your passions, the things that you care about. Do that, right? If you keep getting caught up in the nightmare scenario around you, then it will be very scary. And it is scary, but it will become worse for you. You will not be able to, you will have a hard time managing it, your emotions. Are any of your family okay? Or are they sick?
No, they are completely fine.
Okay, good.
But
Glad to hear that.
my family, friends, and all are suffering from this. So
I see.
everyone is going through the emotional trauma of losing someone.
Mm,
So it's
mm,
really hard times. Yeah.
yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. It is. It is very, very. I have a lot of family in India, and they are going through very difficult time. Himanshu has got a lot of family in India, and all of us are experiencing that through our family members, the difficulties that they're going through. So
Maybe Rohit, you can just give him that golden word you gave it to me when I
which
came to
is,
you, how I was struggling, exactly the way this young man is struggling. You
yeah.
remember life and death in between, you told me, and honestly, that really helped me.
So light his candle.
Thank
Share with him what I told you.
नहीं आप बताइए please.
You don't remember. I don't know what it is that you're talking about. So
Rohit told me one thing: accept it. Accept the distance between life and death.
mm, yeah.
That's it. Accept.
Your biggest struggle right now
Accept.
is,
Accept
yeah.
it graciously. That's it. That's all he told me.
Mm,
Do you believe in affirmations, like as an example, like speaking directly to what you're talking about right now, like
Yes, I do
this,
have certain affirmations
uh,
on.
no, just real quick. So like one example is there's this, I like this saying, nothing real can be threatened. Nothing, so we're feeling fear, we're feeling anxious, whatever. Or another one is, this too shall pass. Rohit, the question is, do you believe in the power of affirmations to kind of get that stuff deep into your spirit?
I do see the power of affirmations. I have used them quite a bit. Um, I just feel that
They feel
there's
a little
this,
mechanical to me.
yeah,
Like it's,
exactly. There's a certain,
like they don't go in that, they kind of remain at the level of my mind, but they don't go
mm,
deeper to where they're really internalized.
exactly, exactly. Thank you. They don't feel substantial. Um, the way to make it substantial is to have a direct experience. If you're having an affirmation, then create experiences to back up your affirmation. So there is evidence. Your mind needs evidence, right? But there's an even greater level beyond affirmation, and that is to really come to a much deeper level of awareness. Awareness, like I was telling Himanshu, let's say, we're talking about life and death. Let's say we're talking about situations with the COVID where many people are dying right now. And yes, I could give some affirmations that all this will pass. But compared to the gravity of the situation, it feels like a real shallow, superficial, like giving someone
Yeah.
candy when what they really need is good food. They're hungry, they're starving, and I'm giving them some candy, right? It is
Yeah.
not, doesn't really touch the heart and soul of the person. I feel that when someone is in that level of gravitas, that kind of, like something very traumatic is happening in their life, you have to first hear them out. And then, if you are going to say something, let it come from a great place of great depth, where they can dive into that deeper. And I think the real challenge in a situation like that is, like Himanshu just reminded me what the conversation was, um, is what we're really grappling with is life and death, and the pain that lies in seeing our loved ones die, or even if we feel threatened that something might happen to us. And now it comes down to this: what is life and what is death? And what is the gap between so then really diving deep into the topic to really understand it is what I feel, George, needs to be done at a time like that. First, of course, the emotions need to be soothed. Then we can go into a deeper exploration. And that's what I did with Himanshu when he'd come over. We kind of dive deep into that to look at the fear of death, and the fear of loss of the people who we love so much, um, and how that hits us, and how true it is that it's painful. There's no denying it. There's no denying how much it hurts, no matter how much we miss them. All of that is true. And yet there is a place beyond that. There is the human experience that we're having of loss and of fear and all of that. And that is what it is. It cannot be, there is no point contradicting that. Like some people will go into a spiritual bypass and just try to avoid the human feelings. No, there's no need to feel that. What nonsense. That doesn't work either. Both realities exist simultaneously. There is a human reality and there is a spiritual reality. And what I find is this, and if I'll show it to you in a symbol. This is the symbol I use. Take that spiritual reality as if it was a big mama, a big love, and it comes like your mother holding her baby, and take that human part of you and hold it like this. Big arms holding that human part of you that is scared, that is worried, that is afraid. This I could die, something could, my loved ones could die, something could happen. And just hold yourself and say, I know, baby, I know you're going to be, I know you're scared, I know you're worried, I know this is happening. And just know that no matter what happens, we're going to be okay, because we are eternal beings, because we are spirit. And that spirit will not die ever. So I know that you're worried, talking to the human part of you. I know you're worried, I know you're afraid, but just trust me on this. We're going to be okay, no matter what happens. And our loved ones are going to be okay. And we're going to meet them again. That too shall happen. And so the human part of you will then start to calm down, because it is rightfully scared. After all, the human body and mind is perishable. So it has a right to feel scared. The soul is not scared because it is imperishable. It cannot die. So why should it be scared? It has nothing to worry about, right? So there's two different realities existing side by side within you. And now it's time to bring these two together and make them friends. Not that it's either or, not one pulling again, not in a tug of war with each other, but like this. And when you walk like this as a human being, you will be a powerful human being. A human being who has integrated their body, mind, and soul together. Not as a fragmented human being who's all spiritual or all human. That doesn't work, not in my opinion. Abhi, anything further you wish to share? He's gone off. Yeah.
No, it's
Is anyone else going through any other kind of fears at this time? What is immersive?
There was something I realized today.
Mm-hmm.
There was this quote that I worked for this one company at one point as their intern, and it was something along the lines of like, I think it was like a Christian like saying or something, but I'm gonna like just frame it. Basically, like some higher power took those people outside of your life because there were conversations that they were saying that you should not hear. And like, I recently lost a lot of friends, and I found out, around the time that I was losing them, that they were talking behind my back about my journey with my identity. And I just like, I'm about to write an article. I said, took me 21 years to decide that I'm a non-binary woman, and it took 2 to 3 weeks for me to be open about it and to lose friends that were like closest. So I like, I kind of took that, like just taking my situation out of the picture. I took that and thought to myself, like, there are reasons why people aren't, in your life anymore. Because maybe they weren't as supportive of you as you thought.
Mm.
So
Yeah, I think one of the things we all look for is to be accepted for who we are and where we're at, right? So whether you choose to see your identity a certain way or whether you choose to be a certain way. There was a time in my life I chose to become a monk. And I got a lot of resistance and a lot of flack from family. You've chosen to be a non-binary person, Brooke, and that's fine. I think each person gets to choose where they want to be in their life and what they want, how they want to be seen. Those who respect you, those who value you, will choose to see you the way you want to be seen, to love you the way you want to be loved, right? To honor you the way you want to be honored.
yeah, I mean, it's true. It's like your
And the
truest
rest.
friends
Mhm.
will stay around, you know. And I had a lot of friends who, like, the ones that I knew, like, you know, my college friends,
Mhm.
two girls that I met my first year of college who have stuck by my side and stuff. And like, and then those friends who I made later after I made these friends, like, so yeah, no, it's definitely, I feel like the biggest moments of our lives is when we either like, it's like a testimony of like people's dedication or loyalty to you, like, you know.
Here's the challenge for you, Brooke. You want people to accept you as you are and for the changes you're making in your life, for the way you wish to be, to project yourself and be seen. And you have every right to do that. Can you offer them the same as well? Can you accept them with their limitations? Perhaps they're not able to see with the same level of openness that you have.
Yeah, I mean,
They are caught in their own paradigm or their
I
own.
have, that's just something that you know, we talked about cognitive distortions, very black and
Mhm.
white thinker, you know. So like I challenge myself by trying to put myself into their shoes, finding that gray area that I haven't maybe charted yet, you know. And so like I have a lot of compassion. I wouldn't have stayed in my relationship for so, that's like, you know, that's a little bit, there's a little bit more to it, but we had very
Mm,
conflicting ideologies. And I
right.
really tried to understand. And
Mm,
I was able to find somewhat of a middle ground while staying true to myself. But
okay.
yeah, that's something that I think I always have struggled with, is finding that acceptance, you know, like, can you, the hypocrisy, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Just be clear of one thing, that when you start, feeling that other people are not accepting you, always ask yourself, am I accepting them with their, let's call it narrow-mindedness, let's call it their, with their limitations, with whatever word you want to use, right? I need to accept them as I want them to accept me, right? So, and then you'll find yourself more at peace because you've at least done your part. What they do is not in your control, right? But it's always good to let people know what you want and what you need and what you would desire, and then let it go, right? David has written here very nicely. He says, do your best and then relax. In other words, let people know what you want and then let it go. What they do is their business, their karma. Like I tell people my name is Rohit, and yet I have people who go around saying Rohit. And I was like, okay, I've told you a couple of times. Beyond that, I'm not going to keep on. Now the rest is up to you to understand, right? So even very close friend who've known me for years, but what to do, right? You can do your best and then relax, let it go, because there's no point stressing yourself out, right? So whatever the example might be, whether you're with a partner, with a friend, or with someone you've just met, there's great power in accepting each other as we are. We all want it. We all want to be accepted for who we are, with all our flaws and with all our strengths. And we need to do that for others as well. I don't know, the more I've learned about this, the more it has impacted my life. And the more it's allowed me to navigate this world more peacefully.
Could I ask a quick question about that?
Yeah, we'll give just a couple more minutes left before we wind up, but yeah.
Right, that's why, yeah, I asked permission. I know so the question is, I think this is one of the more challenging things. Like this has to do with accepting. Everyone wants to know and be known. The question becomes, we all have these different belief systems, and because so many people are coming from a place of ego, that a lot of times will say things that don't fit to their belief systems, and the typical egoic reaction is to push away or reject what they don't understand. And so
Right.
that therefore the question then becomes whether I actually I've come to filter my speech with most people to where I don't say almost anything that I know won't fit to their existing belief system. However, the paradox is then, back to that desire we have to really know and be known at the deepest levels. In a lot of ways, I'm just interacting with them through this kind of surface persona that really doesn't even offer the opportunity to create true intimacy. And so I find myself doing this dance where, okay, how much to share, and how much to filter out and all this kind of thing. What would your thoughts be about that?
It is a dance about how much to share, how much to filter out. I would say, you don't want to be, I would not, I personally choose not to be absolutely open and vulnerable to every single person I come across. I need my few special people with whom I can open up and talk about anything. Beyond that, the world is not necessarily ready to hear everything I have to say, nor do I care to share with them.
Right.
If they're not going to be able to truly understand or accept or love me the way I am, I don't need to open up to them. I don't need a whole lot of people.
Right. Okay.
Right?
That's what I've come to that decision.
Yeah.
It's not useful. It's not worth all the resistance you got to push through,
That's right.
Yeah, it's just not.
It isn't worth it.
Right.
Because people are going to then, like you're saying very rightly, they're going to argue their views. They're going to have all different kinds of opinions. And who all are you going to, you can't change anybody in life. You can't change anyone. That's
right.
one thing that's really important to understand. People are where they're at, and you cannot change them unless they want. They will change themselves. That's
right.
all you can do. You can offer them something if you want, but that's about it.
Right. Right. I agree with that. That's right.
All right, guys, it's 9:03. I think we'll end up out here. Thank you all for being here, and look forward to seeing you guys next week. Take care. Bye.